Welcome to the Leading at the Next Level podcast with Dove Development and Consulting, the show built to provide ongoing support for your leadership journey. So, over the last month and a half, 2 months, Cindy and I have had a wonderful opportunity to chat with so many of the partnering organizations on the upcoming Leadership Legacy experience on June 13th with Mark Coles, our keynote speaker. Today, I've got a really cool opportunity to chat with a friend of ours, Noah Yoder. We've known one another for several years, and he's pretty accomplished professionally, but he does some other cool stuff that we'll be talking about specifically to the partnership. Interestingly, in Noah's case, the organization he works for professionally is a partner on the event, but also the organization that he is the president of as, I think, a nonprofit, and he'll explain that a little bit more as we go through. They're a partner this year as well. So it's pretty cool. Noah, give us a little bit about your professional background and some of the different things that you've done in the industries you've been a part of.
Sure. Yeah. I'm just super honored that you have me on here and really excited about the event that you're putting on. I'm working with Larson Wealth Management now. I've been with them since late January, but before then, most folks in the community know that I worked hand in hand with the crew over at Mercy House. I had a couple of hats over there and just really love all of the work that Mercy House does in the community. So excited to see Mercy House growing and all the wonderful things that they're doing, and just made a transition recently working with Larson Wealth Management now and the awesome team that's here. So just excited to keep getting my hands dirty in the community and seeing what fun things I can be a part of.
Well, and hey, I don't have enough good words. You and I talked a couple days ago when we saw one another in person about how long I've known Dave, how Dave may or may not have actually taught me how to read. But just many of the great things that Dave does, and the whole team at Larson Wealth Management. I mean, just love Tyler. He used to be my neighbor. He left my neighborhood. I'm not sure what that meant toward me, but that is what it was. Talk a little bit about, real quick, your role with VBK, Valley Business Keynote, and how you've recently moved into the president role.
Yeah. I mean, just can't say enough good things. Just going back a little bit about Dave. I think throughout the different roles I've had in the community, I've always been a big fan of, I just believe wholeheartedly in this theme of iron sharpens iron. It's scripture, and Dave resembles that. He exemplifies that. And I feel like that really is the mission of VBK, is how can we get all of the leaders in the community and everyone involved in the same room to where we can collaborate, we can hear new ideas and innovate. And deeper than that, can we make this an opportunity for young professionals and small businesses to have access to? VBK was founded to make sure that the companies in town who couldn't afford to spend thousands of dollars to send the professionals out into different states or into national conferences, can we bring those keynote speakers here? Can we bring those resources here? And so it's been awesome for you and Cindy to be doing so much networking and leadership and conference work here in the Valley so that people can attend your events. And that's a lot of what VBK does too, is just making sure that business leaders and young professionals can be in the same room and can rub off on each other and can work together at a common initiative.
Yeah, it's neat that you say that, collaboration. And I'll say with us and VBK, it's been a collaboration. While sometimes it's been viewed as competition, that's not been the case, because complete transparency, our very first Live to Lead Harrisonburg event that we hosted in October 2015, one of the original folks behind the scenes in VBK, Thomas Ray, was a critical part in helping us get our feet under us for what we did with Live to Lead, and now it's grown into the Leadership Legacy event. So while it may be perceived as competition, collaboration is a key, because so many of the different the ties are there with what the team at Appeal's done for the last several years for us, and more importantly this year. My goodness, no, they're recording the whole event. It's been wild to develop those relationships, to be able to provide that. To your point, organizations spend thousands and thousands of dollars to go out of the area. How can we collectively do it to where we provide that resource? And I would argue an even better resource, so they don't have to spend that money. Nicely put.
Exactly. And you're really touching here on something that's so critically unique to the Valley, is that we have these leaders like Andy Van Hook, like Thomas Ray, who are so invested in not just the success of their own businesses, but in the success of all the businesses around them. Leaders like Aaron Meadows and Janessic Baker, who have just poured tons and tons of countless efforts. Jessica Jacovitas, just hundreds and thousands of hours of behind the scenes work to make sure that the Valley is just a better place to be, and to make sure that we can all be just successful in whatever it is, whatever dreams that we have. And so it's just been an awesome thing to attend all of the Dove events in the last few years, because you all just do that so well. It's kind of, what is your vision and how can you get there?
Yeah. Well, and I love, you nailed one of the things that I was thinking about this morning, the hundreds and thousands of hours. I think Cindy and I will have probably close to 1,000 hours putting together the Leadership Legacy experience. And the biggest difference is our team is Cindy and I.
Yeah.
So it's, take it in with a grain of salt. It is what it is. Now, let's go back to you. Let's have more fun. I'd rather talk about you than me. Noah, you told me the other day, I think you said you're 26, 27, 28 years old. I said a bunch of them there because I don't remember the exact number, but
it's one of those three. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's the middle one of those three.
It is. Yeah.
But with that said, what has been that clear purpose for you to take on more and more responsibility? And I love to stress that leadership's not about having that title that says I'm a manager of this, or in your case, president of Valley Business Keynote for the coming year or so on. It's more about the influence that you earn with other people. What's been that clear purpose that's driven you to take on so much so young?
I think it really was born out of relationships. I was in a caseworking role at Mercy House, and I began to have deeper relationships with the clients that were moving through those programs. And as those relationships grew, I really started to see the need, and I looked to, okay, where are solutions being found? And I realized quickly that the answers come through relationships, whether it's joining a board of a daycare to make sure that we can figure out why costs are increasing and why it's so difficult for middle-class families to pay for daycare, why it's so difficult for daycares to pay a livable wage for their people, right? All these, there's no easy answer to any of the struggles or the challenges that face our community right now. But more often than not, complicated problems can be solved by people rolling up their sleeves and being in a relationship with each other. And so that's kind of why I've just continued. It's kind of a snowballing effect. You say yes to one thing, and the joke gets around like you don't say no to Thomas, right? So once you start saying yes to these leaders in the community, and you just start seeing all the amazing stuff that they're involved in, you can't help but just dive in, because the work that's being done has been just so incredible to see. And it's just been the ride of a lifetime to be in a backseat on it, and just to be viewer and just to see things and be able to, pitch in where I can.
Yeah, you've twice now referenced relationships. The first time you said iron sharpens iron, and I love that. And gosh, Noah, every single day I'll point to how many great relationships Cindy and I, both locally and at a distance, have been able to develop that's made us better at what we do. I've never felt like I've been very good at any one thing. I've worked really, really hard to get competent in a few things, but the reality is I've gotten better at all those things because I've had great relationships with people that are way better than me. And we can solve a lot of problems with those relationships, right?
No, absolutely.
So being in those relationships and taking on those roles wasn't the end all be all for you. What flipped the switch for you to say, hey, I need to continue developing my own leadership potential. I need to really intentionally and purposefully invest in myself. What was that for you that made that really the juice worth the squeeze, so to speak?
Yeah, I think really what got me excited on that development piece of everything was being involved with the Young Professionals Association here locally, and seeing all of the amazing people that are just ripe with potential and just starting the careers on the cusp of greatness, on the cusp of figuring out who they are and what skill sets they have. And I started to realize, like, man, there's so many more people that are they're just way smarter, way better than me at all these different things. And how can I take a backseat to highlight them and try to figure out ways to develop them? And so that's kind of started this new path for me of like, how can I start to say no to some things? How can I delve deeper into other things to where all of a sudden, like more and more people can get more involved in things like Rotary or Young Professionals to highlight their talents and to highlight what they're doing. And that's kind of this next stage of where I'm at now.
Oh, I'll toss some ideas at you offline about that. I know you and I talked about it a little bit the other day, but as you said that, something else came to mind that I won't take time here with, but I'd love to share if you want to sometime later on.
Oh, of course. Oh my gosh. I would be honored. Yeah.
Now, with specific to the Leadership Legacy experience that's coming up in, as we record this, less than 4 weeks. Historically, the events that Cindy and I've done have been October, November timeframe. This year it was different. I won't go into all the reasons for it now, but we intentionally made it as early in June as we could because we didn't want to have any more overlap than necessary with VBK. But this is the first year we've been able to do a joint partnership. Now, in your role, can you speak a little bit to why you said, yeah, that it really is worth it. Let's lock arms and let's have this joint partnership with one another.
It's a no-brainer partnership. I mean, we're so aligned in so many ways, but then I think you and Cindy have such great strengths where maybe we have weaknesses, right? And so it's a no-brainer to say, yes, we are aligned in our values. We're aligned in what we want to provide the community and how we can make other people stronger. There would be no reason to not partner with you all and see you succeed. And so that's why I'm personally really excited. VBK is excited for this event that's coming up in 4 weeks. The firm that I'm working with, Larson Wealth Management, obviously we're partnering with you all to try to make this happen, and just so excited to see how you all already grow something that, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you all have been sold out for how many years, your Live to Lead experience, and now that you're growing and developing this greater event, I mean, it's so exciting.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, Noah. Live to Lead had sold out since 2019. And
yeah,
we were kind of capped with what we could do, and one thing led to another. This wasn't the initial plan, but we were able to coerce the owner of Maxwell Leadership, CEO Mark Cole, to come in and do it. And the secret is he's on deck for next year too. But I guess it's not a secret. I just said that out loud. But the reality is, we won't sell out this year. That's just where we're at. If the venue holds 8,500 people, we won't sell that out. I can say that confidently, regardless of what happens in the next 3 weeks. But we're going to make a good go of it. It's going to be a lot of fun in the process. So thank you for all those things. We've historically been able to have a community partner. This year, it's the Harrisonburg Professional Firefighters Foundation. For many years, it's been the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank with our events, where we say X% of our top line revenue. This is something I learned from Thomas as well. Why are you doing it? Who are you helping through the process? It's not just about Wes and Cindy. It's not just about our partners that are involved or even the people that are attending. How can we be a blessing? We've done those things. I know VBK has really done a lot of that as well. Speak a little bit about who you serve and what the benefactors are of the process that you guys have.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're, different years have different focuses and different missions. Every year we do a scholarship and we partner with a JMU student who has something really awesome going on, and there's some funds there for that. This year specifically, we have developed a new sponsorship level for small businesses. We realized that the tiers that we have are great, but they don't really allow for small businesses to be highlighted. And so how can we approach small businesses in a fair way to say, hey, like, you can be highlighted on this main stage too in a way that serves you. And so we're working on those relationships. And then another thing that I'm really excited about is our partnership with the Young Professionals Association. So on June 3rd, we're actually putting together a panel series event. Valley Business Keynote is sponsoring the June Young Professionals event on Tuesday, June 3rd. It's going to be held at the Loft. We're going to do a panel series on networking. So different leaders from the VBK team are going to be there to talk about why is networking important, how has it impacted their lives, how is it taken away from their lives, and how do you do it well. So really excited about that panel series. Got some awesome panels for that. And then we're going to be giving 10 tickets to young professionals, having them involved in a premier lounge before the event, just really engaging them, trying to figure out, who are you? What kind of steps are you taking in your career? Are you looking for networking guidance? Are you looking for a new career change? Or Or are you just looking to work on yourself and work on your own skills? And so what does that look like? And do you need to be going to something like what you and Cindy are doing? Or is it, I just need to have coffee with someone in this industry? And so we're looking at being a bridge for those kinds of relationships and being a soil that can cultivate that.
Love it. Yeah, it's really cool to see that investment in how do we put people together. And that's a piece, Noah, that we've always tried to do as well, both for the small businesses, but the individuals, because my goodness, I've always had that responsibility of I've got to get results from anything I do. I had that expectation as an employee and owning a business. You can't not get results from everything you do, or at least you can't do it long term and still sleep inside and eat food, right?
Right, right.
Yeah, the intentionality is there in both cases. Now, let's talk about it from both angles. When you joined Larson Wealth Management, but also when you got more and more involved and now into your current role with VBK, what was it about the purpose of either organization that really aligned with your own personal values and purpose that you said, yeah, this is the right fit for me. I'm excited to put my time into these things.
Yeah. VBK's commitment to excellence matches Larson's. Just this idea that we're going to be continuously growing. We're going to be continuously looking inward and seeing how can we be better? How can we bring out the best in each other? And you've probably already heard VBK committee members say this, but it is without a doubt the most enjoyable board that I'm on. It is the most efficient board, the most impactful board. It is one of those rooms where you walk in and everybody is just dedicated to making sure that we are giving access to people who need it. We are making sure that people can grow professionally, whether it's their business entity or whether it's them individually. And so that's why I've stayed committed to VBK, is because it's just an awesome group of people and it's just a really awesome event that drives results. For my joining Larson, I mean, the company values here are just 100% aligned with the growth that I've been having in my own life in the last year. Integrity, faithfulness, growth, these things that the team here has been building on for years. And all of a sudden now I get to just hop in and be involved in, and I'm telling you, like walking into this firm and having all of these people just pour into me and bring out the best in me and being able to challenge me and saying, hey man, like you need to work on these things, right? It is exactly the right type of environment that I want to be in. And I'm just really excited to be here. And you'd have to pry me away from VBK. That's how much I love that place too.
Very cool. I love how you listed the values specifically. As you and I have this conversation, I'm 2 days away from having the manuscript done on a book on values being the core of the core part of the foundation for any organization, not just a business, not just personally, but any type of organization at all. And I loved how you detailed, here's the specific values and how I aligned with it, because it's got to be there. And it leads to so much. One of the values you said, growth, when those things are in place and really lived out. Now, this is a little bit awkward question I'm going to ask you, but you've already alluded to your involvement in doing it. And the reason I think it could be awkward is because you're the person you're going to give this advice to. You're 27 years old. What advice do you actively give to folks who are your age or younger who really want to grow in their professional responsibilities, but earn that leadership responsibility, not just become a supervisor or manager that barks orders and commands?
I think just be intentional with who you surround yourself with is really the biggest thing, because when you ask that question, a lot of things flood in my mind. Oh, you should do this, or you should do that, or you should write these goals down, I think when you have the right people around you who are aligned in the same values, who are aligned in the same mindset, who want to grow in the same ways you want to grow in, all the other pieces tend to fall into place. Whether you need to be working on habits, whether you need to be working on disciplines, whether you need to be taking a back seat and saying no, oftentimes those mountains that we have to climb are too difficult to climb on our own. And so if you can find a core group of people that are already successful in those areas, it just makes it a lot easier. I'm not saying don't have friends your age. I'm not saying don't have, friends that are like you, but if you can find people that are slightly different than you or even vastly different than you in really positive ways that can influence you, can help you grow, can challenge you, can make you uncomfortable, that's money. That's where you can start to see some real development, some real reflection. So if you compare good relationships with humility, which is the other value that I omitted from Larson, those two things would be the biggest key game changers, other than Jesus. But I know we're not here to talk a sermon. But those two things, aside from Jesus, for me, would be just the biggest game changers.
Well, I'm happy to talk about Jesus the rest of the afternoon if you want to. And if anybody doesn't want to listen to us talk about it, they can hit end on the recording or jump out of whatever they're watching this on. They can have their opinion and be wrong. It's okay with me. Yeah, there's a reality there that even if they're great people, they can live a good life, and they're still going to end up in a different spot than we're going to. But that's a whole different conversation, right?
Well, I think, it's, whether you talk about faith or Jesus or whether you're talking about this business conversation, it's all about the transformative work that's happening. And whether that's physical in a gym, whether that's emotional and mental with mentors that you have in your life, or the kind of work that you and Cindy do with folks one-on-one all the time, or in these big events that you do, or whether it's spiritual and you're walking with someone and you're diving into, no matter what it is, it just needs to be transformational today, right? It's the end result is good. You got to think about that. You have to plan for it. But hey, what are we getting done today?
Yep. No, as you shared that advice, it took me back to when I was 24, 25, 26 years old. And at that point in time, I was taking on this behavior-based safety thing, and I was starting to travel around the country for the company I was working for. And I was ill-equipped. And I had to search out folks that were farther down that path. And I had to be very, very humble and listen, because that's not how I'm wired. Usually it's I'm right and I'm going to tell you louder if you don't believe me the first time. And without a doubt, that served me better than anything I could have had at the time. And probably it's been a habit that's helped serve me forevermore, because I've continued to actively look at who are the folks in the industry I want to be a part of that are rock stars. And hey, as I sat here, we're talking about in just a couple of weeks, Mark Cole going to be with us in Harrisonburg on June 13th. Mark Cole's one of those people. And as I've gotten to know him over the last decade, there's nobody on the planet that I would rather have come. The last time I talked with him in person, Noah, he talked about how he just got done in a conversation with the president of Argentina. And I'm thinking, how in God's name did I get to chat with Mark? And he's doing that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it's about relationships.
Yeah.
It's about seeking them, chasing them, and looking for them. And you said, here's what you should do. And I said, that you nailed it, because I wasn't smart enough to know that's what I should do. I was just looking to survive. And praise God, it happened that way.
I can't even, it's crazy that I'm using the words, oh, hey, you should do these, because everything that I've learned is nothing that I have done successfully over the last 5 years, and nothing I've done professionally has been because of me. None of it. And I say that just with utmost confidence. It has been the Les Helmuth, the Shannon Porter, the Sully Perry, like these people they're pouring into me, and it's really just their stuff that is just I'm regurgitating, right? Like it's all of these people who have already been there, done that. Hey, have you thought about this? Or, hey, man, like you really kind of messed up here. Did you think about this? And that's just been, I'm just like, okay, I stumbled there. Oh, get back on the path. Oh, I stumbled here. Get back on the path. And I guess my point is that it really, if you're a young person and you're trying to white knuckle this thing called your career and say, okay, what do I need to do to be successful? And who do I need to meet? And who do I need to talk to? And what do I need to, it's more about, hey, make sure that you make the mistakes around people that can pick you up. And then you're good.
And it doesn't stop for young persons, because I'm not putting myself in that young person box. I just wrote in the chapter as I started the chapter I'm finished that's going to wrap up the book on values. I talk about how some of the biggest blessings in my life, Noah, are about a dozen folks that I can count on at any point in time to say, "Hey, Wes, you're out of line on this."
Right.
And hey, without that, I'd be way out of line.
Yeah.
So, what if I not ask you that you'd really like to share here to kind of put a bow on this and tie it all together?
Oh, I don't know. I think I want to ask you a question. I mean, what is the most exciting piece of this event that's coming up in 4 weeks for you just today? I know obviously you've got a lot of big things probably that you're thinking about, excited about, but hey, it's Monday. What are you thinking today? What is exciting you right now about it?
Yeah, that's not a hard question. I've mentioned Mark Cole several times.
Yeah.
Super excited about that.
Yeah.
But that's not all. The other piece is we've got an MC that's a lifelong friend that has achieved tremendous things in his career. He's currently a deputy fire chief in Frederick County, and he's a rock star at what he does. He's served and been a blessing to a lot of people. And we've got 3 different executive panels with 5 people each, that every single one of the folks on those panels, I'm thinking, praise God, I get to have a friendship with each one of those folks, let alone be able to put them in front of a group that they can impact hundreds of people on this day. Yeah. Hey, Cindy and I'll do the opening keynote for the event, Noah, but at the end of the day, I'm more excited about having that done so we can absorb and see just how cool the lineup really is, to hear, what did I just share, 17, 18 total people that are going to be part of an event that I think changes people's lives.
That's awesome.
So thank you for asking that. Hopefully my answer was okay.
Oh, no. Yeah. It's exciting. It's exciting to know that just by going to that event, you get to all of a sudden get all these different perspectives from all those people. It's great.
Yeah. And we've been incredibly intentional about making sure that what they share isn't what we want. It's what we feel like can convey a message. And the whole thing's around purpose. You and I've talked about that here. The whole thing's about, why do you do what you do? Because without it, you're just going through the motions. There's a book that Napoleon Hill, I'm sure you've heard of, and Dave's probably heard of, a book called Think and Grow Rich. And the follow-up to that was called Master Key to Riches in I think 1937, and then maybe in the 50s or 60s for Master Key to Riches. But about 10 years ago, maybe 12 at this point, his foundation, or whatever it's called now, released a book called Outwitting the Devil that talked about the risk we run if we allow ourselves to drift.
Yeah.
I won't go deeper into that, but it's fantastic as far as the idea and the push that it gives. It's a pretty cool book too. So
yeah. What
have we missed?
I'm not sure. Obviously, really excited for your event. Valley Business Keynote is happening on July 31st. Just really excited. This year, we always have this keynote speaker that's just top of the line circuit speaker that we bring in out of town. This year, we're going to have local legend Brad Cohen going to open things up. He's just a phenomenal expert on AI. I don't know if, anyone who's watching or US, you've talked to Brad recently. He knows AI. He runs his business with AI. He's going to be talking about a lot of really cool, just tangible things that people can do with it. And they're really excited to have Sean be our keynote, because he's going to talk about AI, but he's also going to talk about the human piece, right? We're in an unprecedented time with how does business going to work moving forward, and what values and what skill sets do we need out of our employees when all of a sudden we have this additional tool? When do you use it? When is it not ethical to use, right? And so all of these things, this convoluted and complicated situation, we're excited to be diving into this summer.
Oh, thanks for sharing both of those pieces. I absolutely love Brad. I've asked him to adopt me several times. He's just taking it. He's starting to blame Emily, but I don't think Emily's the issue. I think that's a Brad choice. So, yeah, it's critical to understand the human and the dynamic, and cool that's the theme, that's the message, and how can we build on those things. So I'm going to bring it to a close. I'll say that, hey, if you've heard any of this conversation and you need continuing education credits, send me an email at admin@dove-development.net, and I'll hook you up. Our Grader Leading at the Next Level program now has somewhere north of 160 lessons in it, all approved for continuing education credit through the Society for Human Resource Management and the Human Resource Certification Institute, a few other entities as well, but those are the primary ones that people recognize. We'll hook you up with a 45-day all-access trial, no cost, kick the tires, get your continuing education credits, whatever. More importantly, hopefully it gives you something tangible that you can get results on. Noah, thanks for taking the time to be with me this afternoon and running through this. Man, I've had a great time with it. Hang tight. I'll end the recording here, and I'll share a couple other things with you specifically after.
That sounds great. Thank you, Wes, for having me. It's been awesome.
Thank you, brother. Great to see you.
Yeah.